which shout out to you guys as well, because you guys have all been here for pretty much every one of them, I think. So respect. We've got the crew. Great. How's everyone's week been?
Crazy. I found out that I have a limit of production, right? It comes a point on which I cannot make any more decisions and I need to walk away from the computer. So
Yeah.
Is it tied to your Claude available tokens?
Yeah.
Big time. No. I have overcome that. Now I'm a Max member. So, right?
Yeah, I think I'm the max, whatever the highest one is. That's me.
Yeah. Wow. So you have quite a bit of helpers out there, I guess.
I haven't actually hit my limit yet, but it tells me to calm down all the time. It's like, come on, we've done a lot today. It's time for some sleep. Like my it's telling me this all the time. I'm like, can you stop telling me to go to sleep? Like I'm only halfway through my day.
Yeah,
I've had people get that it tells them to sleep, and then I've heard that some people it just closes the session off. It's like, I'm not dealing with you, and just fucking closes the session.
Mine is constantly trying to get out of work. It almost feels like as if you're like a seasoned worker and you've got an apprentice and they're just like they've had enough, and it's like, so we're finishing work now. It keeps doing that to me.
Yeah, you have done a lot in these 2 sessions. Look at what you have achieved. Bye. Yes. See you tomorrow. Yes. I'm like, fuck off. Next session. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
No, I'll always be like, hey, why are you trying to get out of here? We got so much to do.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's have a quick little jump in. We're going to go with our regular segments here, and we've got a special presentation today from the one and only Jose. So before we do that, let's have a jump in and just have a look at just the general market and have a look see at what's been happening. So, like, I feel like we had a little bit of a ride up in the market this week. Like Bitcoin went up and then she came back down. DOT is also pretty similar. We're hovering here around number 35. I saw this sort of dip and then sort of be pretty stable. So I don't think that there's much happening here. I think the general market has been pretty like resilient to most of the war stuff. And DOT just kind of is doing its thing. It really hasn't really moved much since the last sort of sell-off at the end of last year. We're just sort of hovering.
Could be pretty interesting macro market things with the US and all those like Tim Apple and all those people. I think Trump did call him Tim Apple on Twitter, which was quite funny. All those guys in China today, right? So there could be some news there. So markets could move. Don't trade with leverage. Don't get wrecked.
And also the fact that it does look like the main sort of clarity is coming through. So, I mean, obviously markets will whole move. It's not very Polkadot like specific, but you got to imagine if the whole markets move, it's going to be pretty interesting. We'll see. I don't think there's too much happening at the moment, but I think I saw the main chatter that I've seen is that like Saylor's going to buy us out of the bear market because of this whole stretch instrument, and like the fact that he's now going to just try and accumulate his way out. And I mean, if you listen to some of the main influencers, your crypto banter types, they think that we've passed the halfway part of this bear market, but we'll see. I don't have an opinion on the matter.
Just be worried for whenever Saylor maybe has to sell off some of his bags. I don't know who's able to buy that much.
He slid that one in pretty quietly, didn't he?
I've been hearing that the markets are just going to break the minus 40%. So under those conditions, I wouldn't touch anything that is investment really.
Dude, Jose's got his short positions open 100%.
That's right.
Wow.
No.
Well, moving on, I think this was an interesting one that got shared in our group this week, that Polkadot now has the ability to be able to sponsor transactions on the application level, so that effectively it now becomes gas free. This is cool. This is very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. It's really annoying when you have like a UX and you're like moving funds between network and then you get stuck on one network because you don't have the NATO token. It's like a general Web3 pain in the ass. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to I treat like centralized exchanges like public restrooms. It's like you get in and you get out. You don't want to hang around in there. And so I would prefer to always not have to do that. And sometimes bridges just are a nightmare. I'm yet to have a positive experience with Wormhole. I don't know why, it's just me, but it seems that every single time I go across Wormhole, there's never any liquidity for anything. So this is cool. This is a very interesting thing, because this is also an ICP, internet computer type sort of thing, which they've had for a while. And I think that they were the only blockchain that had something like this, where it's like, it's actually the developer who like preloads like the transaction fees inside their application. And so, yeah, very cool. Something I'm very excited about. And I think that a lot of applications inside Polkadot will probably be able to do a whole lot of creative things without having to worry about transaction fees. All right. I have a special shout out today, because this is something which I saw during the week. So Polkadot Blockchain Academy is actually being, if I share the right tab, is actually been sort of in a pivot mode right now. And I think from where I see, this is probably one of the most active groups inside Polkadot outside of sort of parity at the moment. I think most of the sort of real structural support dissipated, but it's still very much strong here. These guys have updated their website, and this is under the blog section, where there's actually quite a lot of content still coming out. And so you can go through and do tutorials if you're building, trying to get into the space, sort of basic Polkadot philosophy. And so outside of parity, this is probably the thing that's actually got the most activity going on. So I just wanted to draw that to the community's attention, because there's still a fair bit happening over there, not just from like a training devs perspective, but if you're trying to stay in touch with what's happening inside the ecosystem, yeah, this is probably the place that's got the most news happening still.
Speaking of parity, on the good side, right? I'm not footing. This is rare. So if you look on Twitter at some parity employees' accounts, the do seem to all be in Lisbon together.
We are the good.
I'm assuming stuff might be happening. So also, if you look at maybe when Web3 Summit is, it's pretty close. Maybe it's something to do with that. Who knows, right? But as I said, like the past 2 weeks, I reckon Web3 Summit stuff's gonna come out. Like, it makes a lot of sense.
And I think parity. You go, Michael.
No, I said we're all just hanging for that, aren't we? Really? Maybe we should live stream commentary it. I'm not going to be there, but maybe we should all do a live stream of all the announcements.
Yeah, for what I saw in the tweet, from what I could basically dismember from the tweet they did, parity people, is that they are coming up with basically a social network, right? It's not. I mean, if I have to gamble, right, I'll put my money there, because I think all the pieces are there, right? I don't. What a best time to do so, right? I mean, hello, all the applications are, snooping you and things like that. I mean, this is just perfectly timed. Now, to promote something like that, I hope they're just using, Ogilvy and Matter, or, Saatchi, or a big firm, really, a global reach firm, right? Sink some millions in there and, promote it, because that's the way, right? Let's see where it goes. I'm pumped for that, really.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. I'm counting down the days. I can't wait to actually just like clip everything and make a bunch of content on it, because it's cool. It's cool to like go searching the internet and like X and sort of like hanging out and all the group chats and stuff like that to find what's happening inside the ecosystem. But it's going to be delicious to just be fed news. That's going to be great.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, if we're going to move to the bad, this was probably one that Flipchan pointed out in our group as well, is that it seems as if that PokeAssembly has sunset itself, and that the website has now changed to say PokeAssembly ran as Polkadot's primary governance architecture. This platform associated with app domains remain accessible in read-only throughout to the end of May 31st, after which all domains will redirect here. So that's the end. It's the end of sorry, did I not even show that on screen?
No.
Okay, my bad. No. Sorry. I'm just talking to myself, highlighting stuff. Yeah, so PokeAssembly is sunsetting itself. Anyone know anything about this?
I don't know. I think we sank a lot of money into it just to be a browser of a chain, really. I mean, they they pride themselves of being, the Polkadot, governance platform. But to me, this is another, dashboard. Really, I don't think we had any solution that really deals with governance in a way that will change governance and basically build upon, right? So, sunsetting, okay, sure, bye.
I mean, there had a few referendums that got rejected, and then I'm assuming that what happened is that they reached out to Web3 Foundation, as every single other person going through OpenGov recently was doing, and got told that they won't get money. I'm assuming is what happened. Because if they didn't write to Web3 Foundation and get the clear no from them, then they should have just raised the referendum, or they should have asked them, right? So I'm assuming they just got told, no, we don't want you anymore, which is interesting. There's a few weird decisions on OpenGov recently, by the way. Like, there's one where West End Subscan got approved by the Web3 Foundation voting, but then the Polkadot Subscan request didn't get approved. So there's a lot of like weird stuff going on.
So
it's very odd.
What West End is basically Parity's dev server, right? So
yeah,
again, I don't know if we should be funding that, but hey, if we don't have access to it, yeah, we have Paseo.
But if you're going to fund the West End Subscan, you should just fund the Polkadot one as well, in my opinion, right? Like the Polkadot one's used by way more people. Like, it's actually something people use like daily, right?
True enough.
I would love to just like have an old school sort of podcast with whoever's making these decisions and just understand the ethos behind it a little bit more, because like, it's cool that there was sort of baseline guidelines, but it would be very interesting to actually, just to hear about it from the horse's mouth a little bit, because it's a little bit secret herbs and spices at the moment.
Well,
they won't even tell you who the decision makers are. So like, people have asked like, hey, can we like talk to these people? And you just get no. Like, so
I think this is just a blank, let's just the whiteboard, just clean it up and start again. This is a full reset, right?
Yeah.
And if you had 3 years doing a product and you still need financing, I'm sorry, man. I mean, it's too late, right? I mean, really, pack it up, right? You need, all these tools need to be profitable on their own. They need to hold their own, right? If they're not holding their own, there is no market for it. So are we going to be, maintaining all these tools that, few use, but, for sure not. So
like I said in one of the past episodes, probably when some more details of like these things that Parity are doing, etc., that's like the new vision, probably then there's like paths to people getting some level of funding to make stuff based on this new sort of direction, right? Is what I'm guessing anyway. So yeah, it made sense to be going to like some period of like austerity maybe until this point, which again, hoping is Web3 Summit, and then maybe everyone can kind of have that reset and go ahead.
To Parity's like credit here though, they couldn't have picked the moment any better. Like, if you're going to talk about market cycle, like of when to do something like this, I mean, it would have been crazy if like, imagine if like Solana was ripping or something like that, and like we're in the middle of austerity and shutdown, like everyone would be furious. And so the fact that they've picked their timing like probably pretty perfectly, if we're being honest, and giving them, we're giving them their credits if we're going to give them the knocks. So like, if there was ever a time to do it, it was now.
Yeah, I'd say any noise on Twitter, it's just people that used to work in the ecosystem that are upset for various reasons. And if they don't look like they worked in the ecosystem, it's probably the alt account of somebody that did. Other than that, it's the same noise. Like, if someone invested a load of money in DOT and it went down, it's the same as if you invest a load of money in Cardano or whatever. Like, people are always going to be mad. If you invested money in like Tesla and it went down, like, you'd just be mad, right? So.
Yeah. Well, speaking of people that used to do stuff inside the ecosystem, I thought this tweet was pretty interesting. So we'll pull this one up. So Giotto tweeting about Polkadot again. Going to get interesting. If I hadn't already sold my DOT, I would sell now and buy some popcorn. So the reference he's got here, which I think is quite interesting, which is actually the PBA team with some sort of government officials, but the actual article has nothing to do with this, nothing to do with the PBA team. It's this one. It is some sort of crowd justice by Lucy. So
Oh, wow.
So this, have you guys seen this?
Yeah.
I read this. Yeah. So the claim is that from Lucy is that she didn't get paid for like 200 grand worth of stuff, and is looking for donations for some sort of like legal case against the ecosystem. And so I was looking through this. It's like about my case. Over the 8 months, I delivered extensive work across the Polkadot ecosystem, including community coordination partnerships. The work was visible. I've not been paid for substantial work and expenses to the subject, and are now subject to legal dispute. So this campaign is not seeking to fund the claim itself, but the legal process is required to pursue it. So like Lucy's trying to sue Polkadot. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah.
So she had a Twitter space today. Like I didn't get time to listen to it, but I plan on doing it later or having someone like TLDR. I'm sure that there will be on Twitter someone TLDRing it. Personally, I'm not, because I haven't watched that. That was only like an hour ago or something. I'm not sure who she's suing directly. As far as I'm aware, not a lawyer in the UK. For example, if somebody from Parity UK said, "Hey, do this and you'll be paid," and there's like a proof that happened, I think then you can sue Parity UK. But I don't know if it's that. I don't know if she's suing the Web3 Foundation or the PCF. So I'm holding back my comments on it, I guess, until I find that out, and then probably through listening to her Twitter space that was this morning, for me at least.
I have no opinion here. Like I've got no horse in this race. Like I've had like quite a lot of interactions with Lucy. She was always very nice to me, not fighting you, Lucy, or anything like that. But my question is that like, has this ever happened in the history of ever? Like anyone's sued like one
Depends who she's suing. Like if she's suing like either Parity or Web3 Foundation, then I guess that's normal. Or like, that's obviously been done before, I imagine. But maybe it's the PCF. Again, I need to like get more details from that Twitter space. But
the title
if she hasn't been paid after she's been promised to be paid, then I'm like fully in support of it, right? Like
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, if she's had some sort of like even verbal contract, then yeah, she should have received that. Like if someone wound her up and said, "Go do the ambassador program and you'll get paid for it," and then OpenGov's Naser, then yeah, that's obviously pretty yuck. But like the title of this thing here is unpaid by a decentralized ecosystem. And so if you're trying to sue the decentralized ecosystem, I would love to know if that's ever happened in the history of ever in any ecosystem where somebody's been able to sue the DAO. I'm very interested to see like how this plays out. Like I might go try and find that space. I didn't know that was on, so I'm going to go check that out. Yeah.
Did she say the claim was 200,000 for 8 months of work? Is that the?
I'll bring the post back up here. So she said in here that she has been unpaid for more than $200,000.
Shit.
So, yeah, case update.
Oh, maybe it doesn't say timeline.
That's a tough case, because unless you have everything on paper and very well documented, great. But even my conversations with Lucy when we had the event here in Vancouver, I don't know how well documented things were, right? I mean, it was a lot of like organizing, but not her organizing. Well, yeah, she was the head of organizer, but mainly I fill up the room. It wasn't her contacts, right? So it's like about organizing. I don't know, 200 grand, man. I mean, that's a lot of like plane tickets probably and hotels and things like that.
I mean, there's no doubt. Like she's put in a stack of work into that ambassador program, and it seemed like it was constantly embroiled in drama. And yeah, so I don't know. I'd love to see the autopsy on that one, but we'll park it. We'll see what happens. We'll see if there's a follow-up. All right. I think it's time, Jose.
Fine. Okay, good. Put me in the spot.
Let's do it.
All right. So this is
7 minutes on the clock. I'll give you a 60-second warning when you're at 6 minutes.
Well, dude, come on. Give me a breather here. Okay, let me share my screen then. There. I think that's what it is. Can you see that?
I'll add you in. Yep.
Perfect. So I haven't even rehearsed these, guys. I just wiped these out yesterday. Right? So, hey, my name is Jose, and I'm like from, Two Pebble Ventures. I'm here to talk about Axiom governance. Next generation governance infrastructure that takes the best of OpenGov and builds on it. It is currently built as a parachain on Polkadot. Well, not really, but it's in Paseo. Over the next 7 minutes, I want to show you what we built, why we think the timing matters, and what are the next steps. Let's get into it. So, OpenGov was a fantastic experiment in governance. The Polkadot Treasury stopped bleeding. Proposals were evaluated, and the network is at a healthier place than it was 18 months ago. That's worth celebrating. But we all know there were also problems. Anonymous voting at scale, concentrated decision-making to a small group of diverse and responsible voters with the expectation that they will vote truthfully and based on a set of values and ethics. That's not a flaw. It's what the system was optimized for. Anonymity protected voters from social pressures, which is essential, but it's also strip out accountability on those choices. That's a big deal. Today, we have a governance system that is distributed and open, but is flawed. And Jam is coming. We have roughly a year to test whether we can enhance OpenGov for next level. I believe that on-chain reputation and creator signal can widen participation without breaking what works. And that we need to be testing these over the next year. So when Jam is released, we have a functioning OpenGov platform that supports the network and community. How's it going so far?
Amazing. You're 2 minutes in.
All right. I'm running it, man. All right. So the concept is to pair the anonymous voting concept with a reputation system that will measure both reliability of the voters and the quality of their votes, meaning how often did they vote on something that yielded a positive outcome. This is built into a reputation system. So while the voters' votes are anonymous, the reputation of a voter will reflect how often and how well they voted in the past. If as a voter, you regularly vote for projects that succeed and deliver value to the network, your reputation increases. If you either do not vote very often or you vote for projects that are not completed, fail, or have other negative repercussions, then your reputation decreases substantially too in cases. What we do is sit between proposers and voters as a signal layer. Curators with on-chain reputation review proposals, their reasoning gets recorded, and signals get emitted. OpenGov sees richer context, treasuries decide, nothing about the existing flow gets replaced. We add the missing piece of signal from the high reputation voters. Here's the architecture in one sentence. Axiom Gov emits signals, connected chains act on them. We're a parachain that produces cryptographically verifiable allocation signals. Simple as that. This is what it's like today. Para ID 5182 on Paseo, runtime spec version 3, collateral authoring blocks, public RCP endpoint. You can connect to a Polkadot.js app session right now. Easy, no big deal. We have 6 custom frame palettes in the runtime. Curator manages the curator network and authorization. Reputation tracks on chain reputation scores with deltas tied to verified work. Milestones handles proposal milestones and verification. Allocation computes signal weight and inputs. Signal emits the actual allocation signal that connected chains can read. Document that are not completed, fail, or have other negative repercussions. Oh no, sorry, that's the wrong page. So everything is basically handled cryptographically. All 6 are validated on chain. All 6 pallets, I mean. Curators authorization initialize reputation scores, milestone verification triggers reputation delta, signal computation reads from reputation and allocation. So all these have been tested throughout, right? We have run 195 tests throughout the whole system. All well. Here's the tension we're trying to resolve. Anonymity protects voters from social pressure, and that's worth keeping, right? Not getting away from that. But anonymity also means nobody's accountable for bad goals. And the people who do the real evaluation work gets no credit for it. So this is important, right? Axiom government curator network is the answer. Domain experts review proposals, the resonance gets recorded, and their reputation accrues on chain over time. Voters stay anonymous, curators build track record. This is key. Everything is a sealed review, and that keeps curators reasoning honest during the review window. So opinions don't get anchored by whoever speaks first, right? We have a 3-share break class, means no single party can unmask a sealed reasoning unilaterally, right? So important. It requires a governance referendum plus voluntary key shares. The design assumes good faith, but doesn't rely on it. Reputation should be earned by the people doing the work, and it should be visible to everyone else. Ooh. Where are we right now? Well, we are live on Paseo, 6 pallets running, integration confirmed. The UI work was deferred until pallet validation was complete, and that's now unlocked. So front-end development is starting. Indexer integration is in process with Submerged Crystal from Helicon Labs as the primary candidate right now, with Subscript and self-hosted Substrate archive has swap options. The architecture is abstract. The indexer behind a Rust trait. So we're locked in, right? Whoever's mainnet is the next milestone. That's where the cross XCM document storage gets fully exercised. And that's where real signal flows start producing the operational data we need. The goal is at least a year of Axiom Gov running on Polkadot mainnet before Jam lands. That window is what we're building towards. 3 things will help us most right now. First, domain experts. Who is willing to pilot as curators when we go live, especially in technical infrastructure, ecosystem development, and treasury analysis. Second, builders who want to integrate Axiom Gov signals into their own tooling, indexers, dashboards, governance, front ends, you name it. Third, sharp feedback on the spec itself, especially from people who did being close to open Go mechanics, right? I need battle test these. So the repo is in the screen. Chain is live. You can poke at it tonight. I'm Jose, and just ping me, and I'll give you access. Thanks.
Woohoo! Nice, bro.
I don't know. Too much reading.
Interesting. So if I was to TLDR, essentially, instead of it just being like 1 dot, 1 vote, it would be your vote would get ranked by a panel of people or whoever that would estimate whether the things you voted on were successful or not in their delivery of their product, and your vote would then go up in weight for future votes because you've got a good track record.
Yeah, that's right. And it's basically everything is in the platform. It's not, this is not a panel. I mean, the platform goes retroactively looking at results previous
Okay, so it's
results,
got a
and
set of
your
criteria.
votes. Yeah. So it's all factored in, right? This is not.
Yeah.
So there is what you saw in the screen there. There is like 3 platforms, right? There is the curator platform that is just for curating, right? How do we create a system that can be in place that will incentivize curation? We'll pay them, but these are experts. These are proven experts. This is not like, oh, I can do this job, right? No, doesn't work like that. This is like you're an expert in something or certain things, and you have to prove that to be even in the system. This is not like, oh, you're my friend. You do this really well. Let's just get you in, right? It doesn't work like that.
And
right?
so would your like goal be that this is the gate for like the treasury?
Well, no, because we don't hold any funds, right? I mean, this is a signal engine, so you can do everything voting, and this will just give you a return of what the vote was and what the outcome was, right? That's it. The system is handling milestones, is handling payments, is handling reviews, is handling the document storage, right? But it's creating it in a way that is not a high friction as it was before, right? Before you have curators that were talking to each other and colliding. Well, we don't need that. We need the experts to just have a voice and just say it, and that voice cannot be seen by others, so no one can imitate what these experts are saying, right?
Yeah, okay.
So it's like arm's length, right? In that way, what will happen is like you will elevate proposals to a point in which they could be accepted. Nevertheless, it needs to be aligned in many ways, right? And these systems of governance, they need to be led by a charter, right? That people sign online and say, yeah, I will subscribe to this charter, because that's where other people around you and other curators can challenge you and your decisions, right? And that's kind of like the point of making a system like this work. Now, we learned a lot from last year's for the 4 years of what has happened, right? Now, with proof of personhood and everything else, is things are changing, right? This system will be able to also, get a voter to be a curator in a decentralized way, just by proving themselves through the voting system, right? How many yays, what did you say, how did you say it? Everything influences that, right?
Do you know what I can tell? I can tell how dialed in you are on this right now, because the stuff that I'm working on right now, I've been telling everyone in my team, this is what I've been doing. And so, like, respect. I think it's kind of cool.
Cool.
What do you reckon? I think first things first, you need to go and clip this section of your presentation, and then you can actually go and use it for stuff. So, yeah, I'd go tap on the door on some of I don't know, whoever it is that you need to talk to. But use your clip. Clip this and use it.
I need people to just basically see if they want this or not, right? I mean, I've been doing it for like 6 months. I've been, growing the repo, working on doing the test, doing everything else. I have some of the interface done because, I'm a UX person mostly, right? So that part is the easiest part, right? Nevertheless, I need, I'm not going to pull this over. I mean, I need the community to come and say, yeah, I think this is good. We should just work on it. We should evolve it or whatever, right? The good thing of this system is that it has a signal engine, is that you can also reward voters for voting. We think voting is a privilege, and it is a privilege. But voting for a system that has functionality, that it can change things radically is different, right? So the degree of knowledge that you need to have to set up a vote it's different than in any other vote, right? And that should be rewarded also, right? Not huge, right? You're a voter, you don't have much weight, but 0.25 of staking rewards, or something that will just push you a little higher. So when institutions come, they want to vote, and they are going to exercise their vote, and they're going to be doing that. And that's how the system was kind of like set for, right?
Well, I'm excited to see where you go with it. Thanks for being our first presentation.
Yeah.
We should do this, we'll open it up for anyone who wants to come and present. But even maybe some of the stuff you other guys are working on, if you want to give updates, we could probably do that. Maybe Lima, you can
I have a quick question. if I have a project and I submit milestones, like how does the system know that I have submitted the milestone that's been
right?
delivered?
Exactly,
Is it
because
like you rely on curators to go in and manually mark it as delivered, or how does that work?
well, so you have curators, right? And the curators can go into all the documents, that all the milestones you have done. Right? Curators are curating; they are paid, and they are paid okay, right? They can, that's like a salary, right? So they can spend their time basically going through the milestones and checking that things are delivered as they are, and the system is already there for having the stops into those things, and having conflict resolutions, and having all these internal systems that need to be in place for that to happen, right? But mainly, yeah, everyone who has a vote can vote, but if you are a curator, you carry way more weight, right? And as you progress as a curator, you have a 3x, basically a voting power, right? And if people is delegating to you, that compounds, right? So it's kind of like, you can see where I'm going with this, right? I'm just trying to professionalize a curator system that can work in a decentralized way, really, right? With everything in place. So it's not like, oh, where is that document, or who checked that, or who checked that? So even at this point, you have a little signal on each proposal that everyone can see, right? That is based on the curator's output on that proposal, just to signal the community where the curation team is in that front, right? Right. So it's kind of like, I'm just trying to create a system that works for what we're doing, and it's everyone can be, it's open, so everyone can get in and can climb the scaffold, right?
Well, I reckon keep us updated. Maybe even like in the next couple of weeks, come back and let us know like who you've spoken to, or like what the future is, or yeah, if anyone wants to come and check in with you, where can they find you? How can they contact you?
Just through X, through here, just pop
Okay.
by. I don't know.
Awesome.
Probably my cell phone is around there. So
we'll probably wrap up the stream. Anyone else, any final thoughts before we close off?
I find interesting Ton coin.
They've canned their foundation, and that Telegram's taken over.
Yeah, and find that whole thing going on there, I find it really interesting, and we should pay attention, because Telegram was seen as the platform that gives privacy, and I think it's the opposite. It's the platform that leaks everything, right? So, and I think a lot of what happening in crypto, the collusion part was run through Telegram, right? So, I don't know.
It'd be interesting to see, because that was one example of how like the foundation now has run its course and is not needed, and now the token is live, so that's fine. But the actual Telegram's taken over the network, so super interesting. Yeah,
I agree.
All right, well, we'll leave it there, gents. We'll call it for the week. But thanks everybody for joining Polkadot Vibe Check number 8. If you do have anything you would like to come and present, like Jose just did, or if you want to share any information, you can contact anyone here on the panel, and we're happy to share. If anyone wants to give us any like black market like leaks before the Web3 Summit, I also know someone who would like to know information about that. But yeah, very much looking forward to what's coming up in the ecosystem. There's obviously things coming, and so we're pretty excited to talk about it. So chuck us a like and subscribe, follow us on X, subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll be back next week for episode number 9.